The DEA seized more than 22 million fentanyl pills in Arizona last year alone. That's about half the national total, and the main entry point was right here in Nogales by the Sinaloa cartel. Yuma County officials tell us they saw about 1,000 people coming through these holes in the wall every single day. Now, we've seen about 150 to 200 people just within the last hour. We do have, I believe, a Border Patrol bus pulling up right now, going to take this very large crowd, at least some of them. They're not obviously going to be able to take them all, but they're going to try their hardest to take as many as they can. Very emotional here. We've seen a lot of families coming through. They've been crying, they've been hugging, they've been cheering as they cross, thinking that they've made it. This is what 1 million fentanyl pills looks like. The DEA says it's from several seizures, but all from the Sinaloa cartel. Now, Obama touching on many topics tonight, including the pandemic, the economy, and also education. But of course, President Trump, he will be taking center stage around 7 o'clock tonight. I'll have you take a look at just some of the crowd. We are actually in the car right now, as you could probably see, just because of that tear gas outside of the Capitol. Mark and Ellen, we're here at Wedge Skate Park, which is off McDowell and Miller. And just take a look here. This skate park now has just been transformed into a raging river. Yeah, he's coming down there slowly but surely, almost there to the ledge. And there they go, guys. This is a big wake up, that cold and that whipping wind and a little bit of ice mixed in with that wind. So it's also a facial at the same time for you. Go, hit him. That's it. I mean, I can do a little taster for you guys if you like. But yes, all right. Well, usually I speak like this when I talk to my family in the UK or any of my friends. But now I've got both, so you get the American. But maybe we could do the British more often. Air and Marine Operation got this Black Hawk in November. They're expecting 2 more come the spring. Cars were backed up, just driving by, taking photos, hopping out of their car to deliver flowers, all against the fence there behind me. You could see a hashtag Boulder Strong sign that has been put up. The Pinal County Sheriff's Office tells me the US 60 and this stretch of Interstate 10 are some of the busiest spots to intercept human smugglers. In fact, they're catching carloads every single day. So we took a little ride with them.
So we are down in Casa Grande. This is one of the areas they come through, whether it's coming out of the deserts or whether it's on the I-10. Big trafficking corridor for us. Pinal County Sheriff Mark Lamb says drug trafficking and in particular human smuggling has become a daily occurrence. Any differences like before Title 42 and now after it? Not for us. I mean, we just have seen a steady incline over the last 2 years, and our statistics say that. A 377% increase in traffic stops involving human smuggling, a 461% increase in pursuits involving human smuggling. Today, the sheriff and his detectives took us out to see what a typical shift is like. Within the first 2 hours, we saw 2 pursuits and 2 traffic stops involving human smuggling.
We usually do 2 or 3 a day, maybe up to 5, it just depends.
Hey, step to the right! Step to the right, keep going.
In this car, a 15-year-old American driver and passenger led detectives on a high-speed pursuit, eventually pulling over and revealing 3 undocumented migrants from Mexico in the back seat. The cartels are making so much money off of humans. And that is it's a good distraction for them to get their drug loads through as well. Sheriff Lamb says they're seeing a lot of Arizona drivers being recruited by the cartels to help with transportation, like in our next traffic stop of the day. The American driver and passenger switching seats before pulling over. Turns out they had 3 migrants in their back seat. Sheriff Lamb says the Americans admitted to picking them up at a truck stop, and the 3 asylum seekers say they paid $8,000 each to the cartels for a safe entry to the U.S. Since this was a federal crime, detectives wait for Border Patrol to take over. I think Pinal County logistically is one of the most important counties in America. So when you talk about fentanyl or when you talk about the humans that are being trafficked potentially into the sex trade or enslaved, extorted,
we become that last line of defense to be able to stop them before they get into Phoenix and into the rest of the country.
Sheriff Lamb says it's not just people and drugs coming north into the U.S., they're also intercepting cash and weapons heading back south to the cartels, keeping their anti-smuggling unit extremely busy every day.
I think this is the greatest threat to our national security that we have right now. The problem is progressively getting worse, and I don't see any movement in the policies to change that. Congress, Senate, Congress, they all need to do better at coming up with some common sense, comprehensive immigration reform to deal with it.
For Fox 10 News, I'm Stephanie Bennett.
Fox 10 Stephanie Bennett joins us live with that story. Steph?
John and Christina, it was an absolute honor to witness this today and meet everybody involved. Now, the Arizona Flower Market, they always try to donate their leftover flowers after Valentine's Day to somebody in need. And this time, the organizations that they chose hit a little closer to home. Buds, blooms, and bountiful bouquets, florists at the Arizona Flower Market work hard year-round to make sure your special moments are celebrated. And when they have a surplus of supply, they like to give back.
In the past, we've done some donations to St. Vincent de Paul, Phoenix Dream Center, and then today we chose St. Joseph's Hospital. And the reason we chose St. Joseph's Hospital today was because our dear brother, Officer Ben Denham, passed away a week ago from some autoimmune diseases that he had been battling.
The staff at St. Joseph's Hospital helped care for Cheryl's brother-in-law, Phoenix police officer Ben Denham. She says the medical team was instrumental in saving his life in 2016 so they could have more time with him. Today, Ben's brother, father, nephew, and wife, Debbie, of 27 years, were all in attendance to hand out flowers.
No matter who it is and what it is, he's there, and that's why I came here. I'm like, my husband would want me to be here, and I came. You know, because I wanted to, but I also know he wanted me to too.
This is just a small little token of how much our family just truly loves and appreciates everything that everyone did here for him and for our family.
For registered nurse Devin Wengraff,
I actually took care of Ben on the last day that he was alive, so it was really tough.
dealing with critical cases in the ICU and losing a patient takes its toll. Today was all about spreading love, kindness, and sharing memories of the person who brought them together.
Families become part of our families, and I think you take home a lot of those stresses, and you take on kind of what they're going through, and it's a lot to handle sometimes. But just, you know, getting to do these things afterwards and stuff just really brings peace to everything, I think.
For now, a GoFundMe has been set up for Ben's family. We'll have a link to that on our website. Unfortunately, the Phoenix Police Department lost another officer this week, so the flower shop is also donating flowers to that precinct. Reporting live tonight, Stephanie Bennett, Fox 10 News.
See right here, once we hit this road right here, you'll actually probably see them.
Alejandro Alverde has been a Border Patrol agent in Texas, New Mexico, and now Nogales, Arizona for the last 14 years. And lately, he's noticed a change.
It's always been busy here, but what is unusual is all the people that are just coming in to turn themselves in. It's something that we're not, used to. Didn't ever used to happen.
Alverde says in Mariposa Canyon, anywhere from 100 to 200 people illegally cross through these gaps in the border wall every single day. We came across this group of 6 wanting to seek asylum.
10-4, we're right here in green on the road just to the east.
Agents say spotters, usually teenagers, sit on the mountains in Mexico, watching the agents in Arizona's every move, waiting for the right opportunity to send people across.
It's very busy. We do have certain spots that get hit the most, but basically a normal agent would just go out to the field and get an assigned area. A lot of the people, if you go out further west, then they do like drags on the dirt roads. That pretty much allows them to know, like, if somebody crossed right there, if it was a fresh drag, then they'll be able to actually see that, somebody crossed and that's pretty fresh.
He says many want to turn themselves in as they're seeking asylum, running away from violence in their home countries. They're called the give-up groups. But the other half, he says, want to evade capture.
The give-up groups, we are seeing people as young as just infants, 1-year-olds, with usually the people that are not trying to claim asylum. It's usually from 15 all the way up to 60-year-olds.
Title 42 was created by the CDC during the pandemic to help stop the spread of COVID-19, while also allowing Border Patrol agents to expel migrants who crossed into the U.S.
What it allowed us to do, for the most part, if somebody came in without a visa, they were returned to Mexico. When Title 42 lists, and that was irregardless. Now, some were still allowed in, unaccompanied children, for example, high risk for abuse in another country.
The Biden administration will lift Title 42 on May 11th, which is praised by some but feared by others. Many politicians and law enforcement agencies across the southwest border saying they need some sort of replacement to help combat the flow of people illegally crossing the border, as things are expected to get much worse once it's gone. The Biden administration announcing earlier this month that they plan to send 1,500 troops to help in these already busy communities.
So we have to balance all our resources. We're confident in our ability to do that. But at some point, if we have issues with post-Title 42, that might start affecting wait times and the number of vehicle lanes open to be able to process people or travelers coming into the U.S.
Over at the ports of entry, U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers enforce over 400 laws and 40 different federal agencies, not only stopping illegal activity at the border, but also ensuring produce and other products in the supply chain are crossing in a safe and timely manner, which means they're checking every train and every semi-truck on top of their other duties fighting crime.
I believe yesterday we got close to 1,800 semi-tractor trailers come in through here. Last month, we were bringing in about 27 million pounds of produce a day.
Out of all the ports of entry across Arizona, including those at airports and land crossings like these, the ones in Nogales are the busiest.
Somewhere up around 30,000 a day.
Officers are not only using old school methods like mirrors and canines, but new technologies like these scanners to x-ray vehicles to help keep everything flowing.
A lot of this, it isn't open the trunk and there, fentanyl. It's, deep concealment in voids and kind of cars, in all kinds of cars, in trains and semi-tractor trucks, on bodies and inside of bodies. And in the drive shaft, doors, airbag compartment, air filter compartment, bumpers, floors, roofs, you name it, tires, gas tanks.
The DEA seized more than 22 million fentanyl pills in Arizona last year alone. That's about half the national total, and the main entry point was right here in Nogales by the Sinaloa cartel.
We lead the agency right now as far as seizures of fentanyl pills. We've exceeded well over 28 million fentanyl pills approximated here at the Port of Nogales.
28 million fentanyl pills in the last 6 months alone. The Nogales Port Director, Michael Humphreys, says that's more pills than the last 5 years combined total.
5-6 years ago, fentanyl, what is that? And we got small amounts. It's grown incrementally every year, until this year it's just through the roof. This is, it's almost a daily occurrence.
Officers say, unfortunately, fentanyl is easy to make, transport, and sell for a good profit. As demand grows, addiction is skyrocketing. To help tackle the growing workload, they're offering up to $20,000 in bonuses for new agents. Not only is it their job to secure everything coming into the U.S., but also leaving the country.
We're seizing high-powered rifles, assault rifles. The other day, we got 19,000 rounds of AK-47 assault rifle ammunition going into Mexico.
For now, it's a waiting game to see what comes after Title 42 ends. But these guys say they'll be ready.
It's a very rewarding field, even though right now it's kind of complicated. At the end of the day, it's very rewarding, security for your family.
April marks National Donate Life Month, a time to encourage Americans to register as an organ, eye, and tissue donor and to honor those who have already helped save lives.
Mayo Clinic in Scottsdale performs more transplants than any hospital in the nation. with more than 800 organ transplants last year alone.
People travel from all over the world to access their care. Now, thanks to a special translator, they're helping save lives in an often underserved population. Fox 10's Stephanie Bennett has the story.
Hello. Oh, yeah, there.
Communication is everything, especially when it comes to your health. That's where Selena Thomas comes in. She grew up on the Navajo Nation and speaks fluent Navajo, also known as Dene.
A lot of patients are very intimidated, to come here. It's such a huge facility.
She's worked as a patient navigator, serving American Indians and Alaska Natives for about a year at the Mayo Clinic in Scottsdale. From their very first appointment, she helps translate and walk patients through every step of their care, helping with questions and even organizing the little things like transportation and accommodation. She said she's helped her own family translate her whole life.
My mom is no longer with us and my grandma is no longer with us, so I feel like this is something that she would be very proud, knowing that I'm continuing to do this for other patients and being able to help them understand their own healthcare needs.
But there can be a stigma with getting a transplant in their culture, something Thomas hopes to change.
I wouldn't say frowned upon, but it's not something that is accepted, I guess, to get a transplant, because a deceased person's organ is coming into your body and that could cause imbalance, and that's something that requires ceremonies and different things like that. But with more knowledge and education, sometimes some patients are more they're having to weigh their options and they're having to decide what they want.
Thanks to that education, the Mayo Clinic has seen a sharp rise in Navajo patients coming to their hospital. Patients like Robert Monroe, who needed a kidney transplant.
Yeah, she's been a big help. Some, if I don't understand it, I ask her, and then she would interpret for me. Like me, I didn't finish high school, and a lot of times I do what I can. I'd like to say thank you to the people that gave me the kidney, and they gave me a new life and a lot of things to look forward to.
Monroe made the 3-hour journey from the Navajo Nation several times to meet with his doctors. But that was nothing, he says, compared to the trips he'd take to dialysis. If the roads were washed out, it would take well over an hour to get to his local clinic. His wife, Jackie Johnson, would sell these homemade lollipops to pay for gas.
4 years, he was on dialysis for 4 years. Because when he went to dialysis 3 times a week, that really drained him. From dialysis, he couldn't drive home. I had to take him in, drive him home, but once he got home, he went to sleep. He would sleep the rest of the day.
After speaking with Selena Thomas, they were on the transplant list. Then, last August, they got the call. They had a match. His new kidney and the start of his new life was waiting.
It was at 10:30 that we got a call. They told him he can come down here by 3 o'clock. In the afternoon. After his surgery, he wanted to walk. And they kept telling him, no, you can't walk, you have to wait, get some rest. I guess they helped him up and he walked around the nurses' station twice. And they couldn't believe it that he wanted to walk after his surgery. That was amazing.
For that operation, we don't take out their old kidneys, we put another kidney in. And that kidney provides enough kidney function to get them off dialysis.
Dr. Harbell says kidneys are the most common transplants they see, performing 499 last year alone.
Transplant is a huge impact on a person's life. The dramatic change from before transplant, sometimes on death's door, to almost back to a regular, normal life after transplant is something that's really rewarding to see. It's a privilege to be able to participate in that, and it's something that I look forward to every day.
Although Robert Monroe's English sounds perfect, he says he still struggles with certain words. Selena Thomas has made all the difference and made him feel more comfortable.
I say thank you. People here changed my life, and seems like I've been doing stuff that I've always wanted to do.
Never one to sit still, Monroe says he now has a lot to catch up on. He plans to work on his house as well as others, fixing roofs, electrical work, carpentry, as well as a couple cars he needs to fix up.
Have more energy, especially when I'm at home. I hardly sit down. I keep going, and then she has to stop and says, "Come inside, take a rest." And then I sit there for a little time, and then when she starts doing something, I'm out the door already.
Times when we talk about it, you know, we tear up. When we were coming down, we were tearing up about things. But you know, we're happy. He says, you know, I'm happy that I got the transplant. I get to live longer. And the grandson says that. He says, my Che, meaning Grandpa, he said, my Che's going to live forever because he has 3 kidneys.
More than 100,000 people are currently waiting for a life-saving transplant across the country. You can help by signing up with Donate Life. A link will be found on our website at fox10phoenix.com. At the Mayo Clinic in Scottsdale, Stephanie Bennett, Fox 10 News.